Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Angela Celeste May, and my background is in clinical, organizational, and forensic psychology, as well as being a professional musician, vocalist, and music instructor. I have two companies, A.M.May Associates Incorporated, in which we do counseling, consulting, and coaching, and Celeste Productions, in which we do all types of music stuff. So, today I want to talk with you about three unexpected symptoms of stress. Let's get right to it. Okay, so there are lots of symptoms of stress, or rather, too much stress, and many of them we're very well aware of course. You might expect to get migraine headaches. You might expect to feel anxious, or extra anxiety. So there are lots of reactions to stress that we might expect. However, we're going to talk today about three that you might not be quite so aware of. But before we get to that, let's first talk about what's going on in your brain and in your body when you are under stress. Okay, so number one, unlike popular belief, unlike what a lot of people think, all stress is not necessarily bad stress. As a matter of fact, stress, or rather our body's response to stress, is something that is there to protect us and help us. So, what do I mean by that? Your body's uh, response when you are challenged or when you are under threat is to do the things that are necessary to protect you, help you survive, and then help you get out of there, get away from the stress. The stressor, get away from the threat. So what happens is your brain and your body release all these hormones into your bloodstream, into the body. We're familiar with one of the ones that people refer to as the stress hormone, right? So people are familiar with the cortisol, known as the stress hormone. So that's one of those. But stress hormones are released into the system, and your body goes into what we call the fight or flight response. So that's, your palms get sweaty, your heart starts racing, your pulse starts racing. All of those things are happening to get your body geared up to be able to handle, to deal with whatever the threat is. And then once you deal with it, the way our bodies are designed, all of those things are supposed to come back down. Your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system, both of those are part of the autonomic nervous system. They are designed to work in conjunction, where one system elevates, all of those things to get you ready to fight or flee and deal with a threat. Then the other part of the nervous system helps bring those things back down when the threat is over. So that's how it's supposed to work. That's how we are designed, and it's for our benefit. The problem is we run into issues because in our society these days, maybe more than ever, or maybe not, but in these days of high stress and threats all around us, threats to our physical well-being, threats mentally, psychologically, not getting enough rest, all of these things result in our being in a near constant state of this fight or flight. Our body and our brains were not designed to stay in that, in that high pressure preparation to handle the situation kind of mode. But because of our lifestyles, many of us, we never get a chance for that fight or flight and all those adrenaline, rushing through our brains and our blood system to come back down to homeostasis. And so if we stay up there too much, it creates wear and tear on our bodies, on our minds, on our emotions. And what happens subsequently, it can impact our relationships, personal and professional. It can cause all kinds of physiological concerns, etc. Damaging to our mental health. So of the symptoms that can let us know that perhaps we've got a little too much stress going on, the three I'm now going to talk about are some that you may not be aware of. So the first one is, I'm looking over at notes, the first one is aches and pains. We expect aches and pains when we exercise. Sometimes, maybe not aches and pains, but we expect, sore muscles. We might expect aches and pains when we have the flu or ill, um, with age, with what else? If you're doing a lot of physiological labor, you might expect to feel some of those aches and pains. But if you're not necessarily doing anything more than you normally do on a day-to-day basis, um, but you are mentally under extra stress or emotionally, under a lot of extra stress, you might be feeling the symptoms of that in your body, and that can manifest as aches and pains. So if you are experiencing aches and pains and you are having a hard time pinpointing, why is that? What's going on? Why is that? I'm not overly exerting myself. It could be because you're under too much stress for too long. Um, and just to clarify, our our brains do not always necessarily differentiate between what's considered life-threatening stress and what's considered non-life-threatening stress. All your brain knows is there's some challenge that has arisen and I need to flood the system with all these, hormones to get ready to deal with it. And and then we find ourselves nearly living in that state. So that's not healthy. So that's one unexpected reaction to stress, aches, and physiological aches and pains. Another reaction to too much stress, another symptom that you may not think of or expect, is forgetfulness. I know we know what this feels like. I know what this feels like when I haven't gotten enough sleep. That's a stressor on the body, right? When you're not rested, we're not as mentally sharp. It can be easier to have what people refer to as brain fog, right? So if you're finding yourself not retaining information the way you normally do, not quite as mentally sharp, or dealing with what that fog brain, yes, look at things that we talk about these days, especially like mental fog as a result of COVID-19. Sometimes that can be one of the symptoms if you've gone through COVID-19. Um, we're talking more and more about mental fog as part of perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms, which is good. We should be aware of that. Forgetfulness can be for lots of reasons. One of them can actually be just too much stress in your life, too many stressors, and that's a symptom to be aware of. If you're finding yourself being more forgetful than usual, um, you know, consider the amount of stress in your life on a day-to-day basis as a reason why. And what often happens is we live in high stress situations so much that it's become normalized. So we may not think that forgetfulness or even aches and pains could be a symptom of too much stress, because for us, being under stress most of the time feels like a normal state. But for our brains and our body and the way we're designed, the way we are wired naturally, that is not uh, uh, that's not a natural state, and it's not a healthy state. It's not the place where we should be living in on a regular basis. And the third symptom that you might be under too much stress that you may not expect is low energy. And when I say that, what I mean is, let's say that you are getting what you consider to be enough sleep. Your the sleep patterns are pretty much the same, um, but you just find yourself dragging more, or you just aren't. You're having a hard time getting the enthusiasm and the energy to do the things that normally you would get excited about, or you do normally have a lot of energy for. So if you're finding low energy, that can mean, again, like as with the other symptoms, it can be for different reasons. It doesn't have to be a matter of too much stress. But as you are thinking about some of the reasons for the low stress, as you are telling your doctor about that, if you feel that maybe I should check, let me get myself checked out and see why I have extra low energy. It could actually be that you're just under too much stress and you need to work on bringing that down and recognizing that it's really, creating some symptoms that your body is trying to let you know. We need to make some changes, short-term changes, whether they're short-term, long-term. Um, it can be important to step away a little bit. And one of the things that I always encourage people to do, and that my sister and co-owner of our um, company, A.M.May Associates Incorporate, incorporated that we always encourage people to do is not to be afraid to seek help and support. That can mean in the form of family and friends, pastor or minister, um, a supportive network of people that you trust and that you feel safe sharing, talking through some concerns, some issues, and definitely, of course, seeking professional help if you feel that you're at a place where you may need um, some time with a licensed counselor or a psychologist. Or social worker or psychiatrist, depending. So, low energy, forgetfulness, aches and pains. Three symptoms that can indicate that you are living under too much stress for too long a period of time. So I hope you found that helpful. I will continue with content about music as well because they are both my professions, music as well as psychology. But I will be doing a little bit more content here dealing with psychological issues as well. So God bless, take care. Comment below, give me a thumbs up, and please do subscribe. I have not forgotten about doing a video about understanding the genre of music, of soul music. I have not forgotten about that. Life has been super, super hectic, but I do plan to get to that, and hopefully soon so I can upload that for you. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, and do take care of yourself. Okay, bye bye.